Liz Cheney, Chris Christie. There were Mike Pence. These are what I call as good as it gets Republicans. For the people who don't like Republicans, they full-throatedly said Trump lost that election. Mm-hmm. No two ways about it. McConnell said it wasn't even a particularly close election.
A lot of people said it. A lot of people said it. But look, I agree with you that the majority of the Republican Party doesn't believe that. But I do think there's a difference between it was stolen, the nonsense with Dominion voting machines and all that, versus it wasn't fair. And
what wasn't fair?
The election. Don't get me started. What wasn't fair?
Okay. Well, the
How
election.
about the suppression of the Hunter Biden laugh track story? Just for one.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Really?
Hey, welcome back. Get ready for an unfiltered showdown as Megyn Kelly takes on liberal firebrand Bill Maher in a no-holds-barred sit-down. Just when you thought Maher might be veering towards moderation, his latest remarks prove otherwise, prompting Kelly to deliver a blistering critique. In this explosive interview, we witness Kelly pulling no punches as she confronts Maher head-on, exposing the true colors of one of the left's most outspoken voices. Stay tuned as we delve into the heated exchange and dissect the clash of ideologies in this riveting encounter. It's your man Wise, and today we have a heck of a show for you guys. Sit back, relax, enjoy, like, share, subscribe to the channel. Drop me a comment down below. I appreciate all the love and support. And without further ado, let's go.
It's a diagnosis of what's going on with us right now. And in part, to me, it picks up on something you said to me shortly before I came on your show after my own cancellation at NBC. And you said, you seem to me, privately, you said, you seem to me kind of like me right now, which is somebody without a political home. And
sure.
I felt that way. And I still feel that way. I mean, I've been a registered independent forever,
right.
But I know exactly what you're saying. Just the world's lost its mind.
Yeah.
And I certainly would never put on somebody's team jersey anymore.
Right, without a team.
Yep.
Right. And you know what? I like it that way because I don't want to be a part of a team. I mean, I would say I caucus with the Democrats more. I definitely think the right wing is much more dangerous. They don't believe in democracy anymore, and they threw their lot in with a sociopath named Donald Trump. So, no, he's not.
No, I just
Okay.
I want to talk about your feelings on Trump.
Yeah, well, there you go.
But this is how, so you and I are very similar. I feel like you're kind of a 4 and I'm a 6 on the ideological scale. We have a lot of overlap, but you're definitely still going to vote Democrat, and I'm definitely going to vote Republican. But there's enough commonality to make us shake our heads yes when the other one speaks a lot.
So you're going to vote for Trump?
I am going to vote for Trump, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even understand that. And I understand that Biden is deeply flawed, but he does believe in our way of life. And, I was the one who was saying from the very beginning when everyone was laughing at me that Donald Trump will never give up power. And he didn't. He still hasn't conceded the last election. I don't know what could possibly be more fundamental to you or anyone than you have to concede elections. And he hasn't conceded the last one. He's plainly not going to concede this one. He now has all of his sycophants around him parroting his party line, which is when they ask them, will you abide by the election results? Yes, if it's a free and fair election, which is another way of saying if we win. You really think this is a place this country should be?
Mm-hmm.
Was it not Hillary that started this? And really and truly, you could probably go back, a couple decades back when Al Gore was running. And when they lost during that time frame, they said that, he got robbed down in Florida. They didn't necessarily believe in the election as results. This is something that Democrats have been doing for a very long time. And to be honest with you, I would assume, I'm not a super political aficionado that goes back, 30, 40 decades. I'm sorry. Yeah. 3 to 4 decades or 30, 40 years. Cause I'm still a fairly young person, but historically it's been the Democrats, and really and truly this whole debacle really started with Hillary Clinton. When she lost to Barack Obama, it started with her.
I'm not going to defend the election denialism. I'm not one of those people who believes that.
But what's more important? What kind of country do we have?
How about my daughter not going into a locker room and seeing a man's penis?
That's important too. And
Very.
I mean,
How about young men on college campuses getting due process when they get accused falsely of rape?
Well, I think that's a false equivalency. I think these things
Bullshit. What do you mean?
I think these things are important, but you can handle these things through the normal due process of our system. But if we lose the system itself, come on.
But we didn't.
We didn't so far.
He tried it. It failed.
Right. And now he's had 4 years to put in place people who will make it work again. I don't know if there'll be a John Rafsenberger in Georgia, a noble Republican who stood up to him. He thought last time that he could count on someone being just a Republican to do his bidding. And what he found out was that there are a lot of decent people who are Republicans, which is something I'm trying to tell the Democrats all the time. You can hate Trump. You can't hate everybody who likes him. And you certainly can't hate half the country. And Republicans is not a byword for bad people. And a lot of them stood up. I mean, even ones who I don't like very much, Mitt Romney, McConnell, obviously Liz Cheney, Chris Christie. There were Mike Pence. These are what I call as good as it gets Republicans, for the people who don't like Republicans. They full-throatedly said Trump lost that election. No two ways about it. McConnell said it wasn't even a particularly close election.
A lot of people said it.
I don't want to get into the whole election kerfuffle. I don't want to get into that too tough. But there's been leaks about the election, especially down in Georgia and a few other places where, Democrats were in charge, that ballots came up missing. There has been situations to where there were more people registered to vote in a specific county than there were people. How does that happen? So there is some shenanigans going on. There has been some shenanigans going on. Matter of fact, there's been a plethora of people that have been brought up on charges for ballot box stuffing, so forth and so on. So to say that this isn't something that's happening is honestly just being disingenuous by Bill Maher, and to dismiss the people's concerns when it comes to the liberal ideology, such as what Megyn Kelly mentioned when it was, my daughter should be able to go to a locker room or to a restroom and not have male genitalia flashed in her face. That should be something that should be normal, which is something that the left is pushing hard in this country right now. When you look at their policies, liberal policies are ridiculous. And that's a lot of the reason why they don't want to debate around the policies. They don't want to do that. They have to call you. They have to call you out. They have to call you a name. Specifically, they'd have to call you racist or something along those lines because you don't get along with it. It's a communist Marxist playbook that these people are utilizing, where they don't necessarily discuss the issues at hand. They never answer a question straight up and straightforward. They will dance around it and point to a flaw of someone else opposed to answering said question. They can't stand on their policies. And this current administration definitely can't stand on the success of the administration. People are suffering right now. It's hard out here in these streets.
A lot of people say, but look, I agree with you that the majority of the Republican Party doesn't believe that. But I do think there's a difference between it was stolen, the nonsense with Dominion voting machines and all that, versus it wasn't fair. And
what wasn't fair? The
election. Don't get me started. What wasn't fair?
Okay. Well, the
How
election.
about the suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop story? Just for one.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Really? Oh, then we're not as alike as you think. That's a stupid non-story. I mean, yes.
Says who? There are polls that show some 10 to 12% of the electorate says they would have changed their mind had they seen it, had they known about it.
It wasn't right. It wasn't right to suppress it, but nobody gives a fuck about Hunter Biden's
when you
dick.
say nobody, you're talking about yourself. I'm telling you, there are data to show people did care. They said
if it wasn't a big deal, Bill Maher, why was it suppressed? If no one actually cared, and if they didn't think that the laptop would have had no effect on the election, why was it suppressed?
They would have changed their vote.
Nobody who was going to vote Trump anyway, or Biden anyway. I mean,
it wasn't about Hunter Biden's man parts. It was about the scandal of his corruption and his dad's corruption. Bill, I used to think that Hunter Biden was a hot mess and Joe Biden was embarrassed by him but had to deal. Now I really think he was doing Joe Biden's bidding. Joe Biden is the bad guy who sent his drug-addled son out there to collect money. That's what the laptop shows.
And that's more important than what I was bringing up about not abiding by election results, not respecting what always made this country great, the peaceful transference of power.
See, I don't disagree with you on that. You're not going to get me to say it was a great thing the way Trump behaved.
I don't have to get you to agree or disagree. You're obviously someone who looks at an elephant and a mouse and cannot tell which one is bigger.
I disagree. I think
I know.
That's projection by you because I look at Joe Biden.
That's how I see you.
Well, let's talk about
why are you telling me this. I mean, this is just typical right-wing talking points. The evil Hunter Biden and the evil Joe Biden. And look, do I like them? No, I don't particularly like them. I think they're very flawed.
Listen.
It's not nearly on the scale.
You're misstating my argument. You're misstating my argument. That Hunter Biden just now in the laptop was brought up as evidence of how the election was not fair. He's not a reason necessarily to not vote for Joe Biden. The reason not to vote for Joe Biden is his policies. You're not woke. He's as woke, or at least his policies are, as they come. The open border bill? How could anybody vote for somebody who keeps this border open with the number of rapes and the number of murders and the numbers of crimes going on with these immigrants?
He can't speak to that. Watch him dance around. Watch him dance around that.
But again, these are the normal sorts of issues we've always had in this country that should be taken care of through the normal process we've had. You're talking about the difference between I'm talking about the difference between this and something fundamental, which is our democracy. The fact that you have to respect who wins an election, or else
we don't live in a democracy, Bill. These liberals keep our democracy, our democracy. They say that because they know most people, they have no idea that we don't live in a democracy. So when they put out there that, oh, Donald Trump is a threat to the democracy, he very much may be, but we don't live in a democracy. And thank God we don't live in a democracy, because if we did, we'd be ran. This country would have been run into the ground a long time ago. See California, see New York. It would be Cali, New York, and Texas basically making all the decisions for the remainder of the country. Who wants to live in a country like that?
You don't have the kind of country we've always had before.
How about?
I mean, I feel like we keep going around the roseberry bush about this, and we're not going to make any progress. So let's stop talking about it. But you keep saying sort of I'm nuts because I don't see the difference between the elephant and the mouse, and I'm telling you I identify them differently than you do. Hillary Clinton, of course, is the original election denier. I'm sure you voted for her in 2016. Well, she's not an election denier.
She absolutely was the OG election denier.
First of all, she came out before the sun had risen to concede the election to Trump.
And then spent the next 4 years saying he was illegitimate. He was an illegitimate president.
Who brought up the Russia hoax collusion? Who brought that up? That was Hillary. Who started with Barack Obama not being a United States citizen, born in Kenya or somewhere else, not inside of the United States? Who started that rumor? It was Hillary Clinton. She is, like Megyn Kelly said, the original election denier, without question.
Okay, well, first of all, she didn't say he was an illegitimate.
Yes, she did.
You tell me exactly what she said.
She said those exact words repeatedly.
Okay, I mean, she conceded the election. Whether you're interpreting her disappointment at losing it as the same thing as Trump not conceding it, I don't know if that's where you're getting it from. But again, it's a tremendous false equivalency. You could ask Hillary Clinton right now who won that election. She will tell you. Donald Trump won the
Now
election.
she knows she has to because of what Trump has done.
She came out that night
She
in her
conceded the
dark
election.
purple suit and conceded the election.
Correct.
Something
And then spent the next 4 years trying to convince us it was not legitimate. I'm just saying, look, it's not the same as Trump. What Trump did was far more severe. I'm not going to deny that, but don't try to tell me that Hillary Clinton wasn't an election denier, and Jamie Raskin, and a whole host of Democrats who are now in prominent positions on Capitol Hill. Doesn't make it great what Trump did, but they don't have clean hands either. But you bypass the immigration question. I mean, like.
But see, that's the problem with liberals. It's all in with them. It's all or nothing with them. You either get 100% on board with the farcities and the lies, or they'll cancel you. Simple as that. So a person like Bill Maher, he doesn't have the ability to really think freely. He just doesn't. Again, like I said, at the beginning of this video, just when I thought that this dude was starting to come around, man, he opens his mouth and he takes 4 or 5 steps backwards in my mind. Goodness gracious, man.
I'm not bypassing it. I think it's a disaster.
How would you put this guy back in there for 4 more years to leave the doors open?
And like it was so much better under Trump?
Yes, it was better under Trump. Are you kidding me?
It was somewhat better.
Oh, Bill.
It was somewhat better.
Go look up the immigration rates.
Yeah, I know.
Illegal
Right.
immigration
No, I
rates.
agree.
For 2020, for 19 to 20.
I'm not defending Biden on immigration. I don't understand why it's so difficult in this country to stop people coming through the border. I don't. And I watched that 60 Minutes piece they did on it a couple of months ago, and they had films of people coming through this hole and the border patrol just watching them and basically waving. I don't understand why. I don't understand why this country can't accomplish something like that. It doesn't seem like it's impossible. But so many things in this country.
That's what's so aggravating. We can accomplish it. We can stop what's happening at the southern border. We just won't under Joe Biden. And he keeps pretending like he has no agency on it, but he does have agency. There are a lot of executive orders he could do, just like Trump did. He won't. And you know why? It's because of the people who use the word Latinx, who are trying to lecture him that it's not humane to enforce our borders.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The left wing, because they're so afraid always of being called racist, they let that color every issue and very often wind up with terrible policies.
Thank you, Megyn Kelly, for calling this dude to the carpet and showing everybody exactly who he is once again and challenging him, pushing back on his rhetoric, pushing back on his ideology. That's the problem with these liberals, man. It's all or nothing with them. They can't see an issue and say, you know what? I don't agree with that. That's not because for fear of being canceled. So when she brought up certain points, when she brought up, men in the women's bathroom, when she brought up the border issue, when she brought up the Biden, Hunter Biden laptop situation, he dances around those and tries to defend their actions, try to defend their policies. There's no defense of that. There's no way to defend 10 million people coming across our southern border since this dude has been in office. How do you defend it? How do you defend the vice president supposedly being the border czar, and we've had more people come through our southern border in such a short amount of time than any other administration? These people are fools and they look ridiculous, but they also think that we, the American people, are idiots. They think that we, the American people, are stupid and that we don't know and that we can't see. Most of us are no longer getting our news from these mainstream liberal media outlets because we also understand, we know now that they won't tell us the truth. We know that they're biased. We know that they're left leaning. We know that 90% of your mainstream media is liberal. And a lot of that has to do with a large majority of them being forced to obtain a journalist degree from these liberal woke colleges. And they get pushed this liberal ideology and they live in this fake utopia that everything is great if, we just allow people to be and live in their delusion and things would be great. When in all actuality, it's the furthest thing from the truth. And I'm glad Megyn Kelly had this dude on the show because that's the one thing that I will say is different Typically, a lot of liberals, they won't allow a conservative on the show and allow them to speak freely without talking over them, cutting them off, cutting their mic down, so forth and so on. At least they were able to have a dialogue. But he showed his hand. And he really and truly, in my opinion, showed his hand of all the liberals out there, because when you ask them a direct question, they typically will not give you a direct answer. They'll find a way to dance around and defer and then defend the foolishness. Let me know what you guys think, man. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Drop me a comment down below. I appreciate all the love and support. Keep God first in your life. Stay prayed up. And I'm going to catch up with you all next time. Peace.